Russia's invasion of Ukraine has now entered its second year, an invasion which has taken the lives of tens of thousands and left parts of the country in ruins. Few know the true extent of the devastation, like our next guest, advisor to the Ukrainian Defense Secretary Yuriy Sak. He joins me now. Yuri, thank you for joining us on the program again on this somber anniversary. Please, first off, reflect on this past year and give us some of your thoughts about the troops, about your troops, the folks who have defended Ukraine and so far beaten the odds.
Thank you, Tom, and great to be on your show again. Indeed, it is a very somber anniversary, and I'd like to start by saying that we will do everything possible and impossible to make sure that this is the last anniversary. We don't want to have another anniversary like this a year from now. If we look back at the last 12 months, what we will see that Russia, this terrorist state, the aggressor, at first they wanted to break the Ukrainian people through fear. They failed. Then they wanted to break the alliance of free nations using the strategy of fear. They failed, because the Western allies of Ukraine are still standing with us in this freedom war, and we are standing strong. So after the Russians have failed in all their strategies of fear, they have failed to break the Ukrainian people's will. They have failed, on every count on the battlefield. They are now hoping that they can outlast us. They are hoping that they can outsuffer us. And when I say us, I mean, of course, all of us. They are hoping that they can continue with their plan of, destruction of Ukraine as a country, reduction of NATO as alliance, and resurrection of the Russian evil empire. The same empire that was fought against on a political and diplomatic level by so many American presidents in the past. So looking back, we understand that this was a year of destruction and tragedy for our country, but we are almost confident that this year will be a year of victory for us and for the coalition of free nations around the world, with the U.S. leadership, of course.
Yuri, Secretary of State Antony Blinken yesterday was at the UN Security Council, and he said that no nation should call for peace while supporting Russia's war on Ukraine, and it also as a war on the UN Charter itself. Listen to what he had to say.
Members of this council have a fundamental responsibility to ensure that any peace is just and durable. In this war, there is an aggressor, and there is a victim. Russia fights for conquest. Ukraine fights for its freedom. If Russia stops fighting and leaves Ukraine, the war ends. If Ukraine stops fighting, Ukraine ends.
China has now put out a position paper, they say, to attempt to bring this to a peaceful conclusion. Your reaction to the Chinese offering to broker a peace deal?
Well, first of all, I'd like to, in line with what was just said by Mr. Blinken, say that, of course, it is right to look at what is happening in Ukraine now, not as an attack just on Ukraine. It is an attack on the world order. It is an attack on those foundational principles that have actually kept this world relatively safe since the end of the World War II. Now, when it comes to China, of course, we fully appreciate that China is one of the major players on the international arena, and we hope that China will continue to be at least pragmatic when it comes to its approach to Russia's aggressive war against Ukraine. We hope that China will not start supplying Russia with weapons. We hope that China is not interested in joining this newly formed axis of evil, if you like, which includes Iran, which includes North Korea, Belarus. China is a major player, so it's logical that China should be interested in restoring the rules-based international order, because this is in the interest of everyone. So that's our attitude.
Yeah. People grow impatient, Yuri, it's human nature. What is your message to Americans and NATO countries about the need to ensure a total Ukrainian victory here?
Well, the message is very simple. We need to stand together if we want to have a stable and peaceful future and if we want to have freedom. Now, there are countries, even in Europe, which kind of surprise us with their position. You might have heard the latest news about, for example, Hungary trying to stop Sweden and Norway from joining NATO. And I mean, that doesn't make sense to us. It's very illogical. We want to say that, this year we must not be complacent because Russia is still an aggressive country with a lot of people whom they are willing to use as cannon fodder, dispensable cannon fodder. So we have to step up our efforts. And one thing I want to say to the American people is that we are very grateful to the taxpayer support that we receive, because we understand that and it's been already calculated that apparently for the American taxpayers, which is according to NATO's doctrine, Russia is the major enemy of the free world. So it costs the American taxpayers about 50 cents per day to stop this evil empire from spreading further west. We are capable of doing that. Just give us the weapons, give us the equipment, and the heroic Ukrainian soldiers who have been defending the global freedom for the last 12 months will continue to be on guard.
And they have clearly performed remarkably. Yuri, advisor to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, Yuriy Sak, thank you so much, as always, for being with us. And we continue to have our thoughts and prayers go out to your troops and all of those who are suffering as a result of this war.
Thank you very much, Tom. We truly appreciate it.